Lieutenant Cruz, have you pinpointed the source of that signal? Aria's voice cut through the noise, calm yet authoritative. Lieutenant Javier Cruz, a tall man with sharp features, glanced up from his console. Yes, Commander. It's coming from a sector we've never explored before. The signal is faint, but it's definitely artificial. Aria's eyes narrowed. Interesting. Prepare the ship for warp. We need to investigate. Ensign Mia Parker, a young officer with bright eyes and a keen mind, stepped forward. Commander, do you think it could be a distress signal? Aria considered this for a moment. Possibly, Parker. Or it could be a trap. We need to stay sharp. As the Vanguard leaped into warp, the crew buzzed with anticipation and unease. The ship hummed with power, stars stretching into streaks of light outside the viewport as they sped toward the unknown. Aria turned to the tall, imposing figure standing beside her. Captain Orion, what do you make of this? Captain Orion, a man of few words but deep wisdom, stroked his chin thoughtfully. It's unusual, Aria. We've encountered many signals, but this one feels different, almost ancient. Ancient, Aria echoed, intrigued. Yes, Orion replied, his gaze distant. Prepare the crew for anything. We don't know what we're walking into. The Vanguard exited warp, and the view screen filled with a breathtaking sight, an enormous alien structure floating in the void. Its surface shimmered with an eerie, otherworldly light, and intricate patterns covered its exterior, hinting at a civilization far more advanced than humanity. What is that? Aria whispered, awestruck. Cruz's fingers danced over his console. Scans indicate it's a relic of some sort. Massive in scale, definitely not natural. Ensign Parker's eyes widened as she read the data on her screen. Commander, we're picking up life signs inside the structure. Human? Aria asked, a note of hope in her voice. No, Cruz said, shaking his head. Definitely alien. But they're faint. Almost. Dormant. Captain Orion's voice was steady. Let's approach with caution. I don't want any surprises. As the Vanguard edged closer, a sudden flash of light enveloped the ship. The crew staggered, momentarily blinded. Alarms blared, and the ship's systems flickered. What just happened? Aria demanded, regaining her composure. Ensign Parker's fingers flew across her console. Commander, we're being hailed. By the structure. Put it through, Aria ordered, her pulse quickening. The view screen crackled to life, revealing a shadowy figure. Its features were indistinct, shrouded in darkness, but its eyes glowed with an unsettling, otherworldly light. You have trespassed on sacred ground, humans. Identify yourselves. The alien voice intoned, echoing through the bridge. I am Commander Aria Blackwood of the Human Earth Space Force. We received a signal and came to investigate, Aria said, her voice steady but respectful. The alien figure seemed to study her for a moment. Humanity, we did not expect you to reach us so soon. Captain Orion stepped forward. Who are you? We are the Xylor, the ancient protectors of this galaxy. Your presence here was foretold, but your arrival is premature, the alien replied, its voice resonant with age and power. Premature? What do you mean? Aria asked, confusion flickering in her eyes. You seek knowledge that could either save or destroy you. Your fate is now intertwined with ours, the Xylor said. What do you want from us? Captain Orion asked, his voice firm. To survive, you must prove yourselves. The relic you seek holds the key to your future. But be warned, not all will survive the trials ahead, the alien voice declared. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the crew of the Vanguard in stunned silence. The bridge was filled with a palpable tension as everyone absorbed the alien's words. Aria broke the silence. Captain, what now? Captain Orion's eyes were steely with determination. We proceed with caution. Assemble a team and prepare to board that structure. Our mission just got a lot more complicated. As the crew prepared for their mission, a sense of unease settled over them. They were about to step into the unknown, facing challenges that could change the course of human history. Aria and her team suited up, each member weighed down not just by their gear, but by the gravity of the situation. Lieutenant Cruz joined Aria near the airlock. "Commander, I have a bad feeling about this." Aria gave him a reassuring smile. "Stay focused, Cruz. We've faced worse before." Ensign Parker adjusted her helmet, her voice tinged with nervous excitement. "Do you think we'll find out what that signal really means?" Aria nodded, her expression serious. "I hope so, Parker, for all our sake." The airlock hissed open, and the boarding party stepped onto the alien structure. The interior was vast and dimly lit, with strange symbols etched into the walls. The air was thick with a sense of ancient power, as if the very walls held memories of eons past. "Stay close," Aria instructed, her voice echoing slightly in the cavernous space. As they moved deeper into the structure, the silence was oppressive. Every footstep seemed to reverberate, amplifying their presence in the alien hallways. Suddenly, Cruz's scanner beeped. "I'm picking up movement," he said, his voice tense. "Where?" Aria asked, her hand instinctively moving to her weapon. "Just ahead. It's faint, but definitely there," Cruz replied. The team advanced cautiously, weapons at the ready. They turned a corner and came face to face with a large sealed door. Strange, glowing symbols pulsated on its surface. "Looks like this is it," Aria said. "Parker, see if you can get it open." Parker stepped forward, examining the symbols. "These look like some kind of control panel. I think I can figure it out." As Parker worked, the rest of the team stood guard, eyes scanning the shadows. After a few tense moments, the door began to slide open with a low rumble. "Good job, Parker," Aria said, motioning for the team to move through the opening. They entered a vast chamber, the air humming with an almost tangible energy. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and upon it rested a strange, glowing artifact. "That must be the relic," Cruz whispered, his eyes wide with awe. As they approached the pedestal, a sudden gust of wind whipped through the chamber, and the alien voice from the transmission echoed around them. "Your journey has just begun. Prove your worth, humans, or face annihilation." Aria took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. "We will prove ourselves. We have no other choice." The team gathered around the relic, each member feeling the weight of their mission. The future of humanity rested in their hands, and the trials ahead would test their courage, their strength, and their unity like never before. Chapter 2. The Discovery. The Vanguard's crew stood in the chamber, the alien relic casting an eerie glow that painted their faces with strange light. Commander Aria Blackwood felt a shiver run down her spine as the relic hummed with energy, an ancient and powerful presence almost palpable in the air. Captain Orion's voice broke the silence. "Aria, we need to be cautious. This relic is more than just a piece of alien technology. It feels alive." Aria nodded, her eyes never leaving the artifact. "Agreed. We need to figure out what it does and how it's connected to the signal we received." Lieutenant Cruz stepped forward, his scanner beeping softly. "The energy readings from this relic are off the charts. I've never seen anything like it." Ensign Parker, still buzzing with nervous excitement, examined the relic closely. "Do you think it's some kind of weapon?" "Possibly," Aria replied. "Or it could be a tool. Either way, we need to understand it." Suddenly, the chamber was filled with a low rumbling sound. The ground beneath their feet trembled, and the walls began to glow with strange symbols. The relic's hum grew louder, resonating through their bodies. "What's happening?" Cruz shouted over the noise. The alien voice from the transmission echoed through the chamber once again. "You have awakened the relic. The trials begin now." Before anyone could react, the room was flooded with a blinding light. Aria felt herself being pulled in every direction, her body stretching and compressing as if she were being torn apart and put back together again. When the light finally faded, she found herself standing in a completely different place. The team was no longer in the alien structure. They were in a vast, open field under an unfamiliar sky. Strange plants and trees surrounded them, their leaves glowing with an ethereal light. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, and an eerie silence hung over everything. "Where are we?" Parker asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Aria replied, scanning the area. "But it seems like we've been transported somewhere. Stay alert." Captain Orion's voice was calm but firm. "This must be one of the trials the alien mentioned. We need to stick together and find a way out." As they began to explore the strange landscape, they quickly realized they were not alone. Shadows moved among the trees, and the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. "Keep your weapons ready," Aria instructed. "We don't know what's out there." Suddenly, a figure emerged from the trees. It was humanoid but clearly alien, with translucent skin and glowing eyes. The creature moved with a fluid grace, its gaze fixed on the humans. "Who are you?" Aria called out, her weapon aimed at the alien. The creature tilted its head, studying them. "I am a guardian of this realm. You have been brought here to prove your worth." "Prove our worth?" Kruz repeated, incredulous. "What do you mean?" "The relic you seek is a key," the guardian explained. "To unlock its power, you must pass through the trials of this realm. Only then will you be deemed worthy." Aria stepped forward, her eyes locked on the guardian. "And if we fail?" The guardian's expression was unreadable. "Failure means death." The gravity of their situation hit them hard, but Aria's resolve only strengthened. "We'll face your trials. We don't have a choice." The guardian nodded. "Follow me. The first trial awaits." The team followed the guardian through the strange landscape, their senses heightened by the unfamiliar surroundings. The trees seemed to whisper as they passed, and the ground beneath their feet pulsed with energy. After what felt like hours, they'd arrived at a clearing. In the center stood a massive stone structure, its surface covered in intricate carvings that seemed to move and shift as they watched. "This is the trial of courage," the guardian announced. "Inside, you will face your greatest fears. Only by confronting them will you advance." Aria took a deep breath, steeling herself. "We're ready." The guardian gestured to the entrance. "Enter, and may your courage guide you." One by one, the team stepped into the stone structure. The air inside was cold and damp, and a sense of foreboding settled over them. As they moved deeper into the darkness, the walls began to close in, and the sound of their footsteps echoed ominously. Suddenly, the darkness was pierced by a blinding light. Aria shielded her eyes, and when she looked again, she was alone. The stone walls had disappeared, replaced by a familiar setting, her childhood home. "Mom," Aria called out, her voice echoing in the empty house. A figure appeared at the end of the hallway, and Aria's heart stopped. It was her mother, looking just as she had before she died. "Aria," her mother said, her voice soft and gentle. "Why did you leave me?" Aria's heart ached with guilt and sorrow. "I didn't want to, Mom. I had to join the fleet." Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "You abandoned me. You let me die alone." "No," Aria cried, tears streaming down her face. "I loved you. I still do." The figure of her mother began to fade, and Aria reached out, desperate to hold on. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." As the image of her mother disappeared, Aria felt a weight lift from her chest. She had faced her deepest fear, the guilt of leaving her family behind. She took a deep breath, finding strength in her resolve. The darkness returned, but this time it felt different, less oppressive. Aria moved forward, determined to find her team. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Kruz found himself in a different kind of nightmare. He stood on a battlefield, the sounds of war all around him. Bodies lay strewn across the ground, and the smell of smoke and blood filled the air. "Javier," a voice shouted. Cruz turned to see his brother, Miguel, running towards him, blood streaming from a wound in his side. Miguel, Cruz cried, rushing to his brother's side. What happened? It's too late, Miguel gasped, his face pale. You couldn't save me. No, Cruz said, his voice breaking. I can save you. I won't let you die. Miguel shook his head, his eyes filled with pain. You can't change the past, Javier. Let me go. Cruz's heart shattered as he held his brother. I'm so sorry. As Miguel's form began to fade, Cruz felt a sense of peace wash over him.